On the account of groundbreaking manga series, first one that may come to my mind is maybe Attack on Titan? Well, no, something like Berserk? No. The one that should come to your mind is The Climber. The Climber is a 170 chapter manga written by Sakamoto Shinichi, and it's a story of a guy in high school. His name is Mori Buntaro, and he is cajoled by a classmate into climbing into the school building. Despite knowing that one misstep could send him spiraling to his death, he moves forward, and upon reaching the top, Mori experiences a sense of fulfillment. That feeling, which seems to be telling him you're alive, gives birth to an adrenaline for rock climbing. That is the start for one of the greatest manga series of modern history, which is The Climber. So the story starts out with a boy named Bori Buntaro, sorry, and him starting off in his high school, and he's a very alone, sad boy. And it's not that something affected him to become this way; it is his nature. And later on in the story, they tell you why his nature is this way, but there's no coherent reason for his uh, for his behavior currently. And throughout the manga, they hint that his personality is the main driving factor that leads him to climbing all these mountains, all of these places, and coming out on top alive because he's so determined. Meanwhile, he's such a loner person. And further on in the manga, there are very happy moments as well. There's not just loning boys moments, but the manga starts off with that. And the first chapter of the manga consists of the main character climbing his high school building. That is correct. He climbs his high school building, and as all manga characters do, he climbs it with near to no plot armor. Yes, totally no plot. And after climbing it, he reaches a sense of fulfillment, a sense of completion that he has never felt before. It is something that cannot be attained, and he's provoked by his near-to-dead classmate who will turn into a very important character later in the series to accompany him, or more so, follow his dare to climb the high school building. And after he reaches a sense of fulfillment, he, well, wants to climb more because he has loved it. And then he climbs a few rocks, he climbs a few buildings, he participates in some tournaments, but he hasn't get that yet. No, no, that feeling is not that. So he joins a mountain trekking company, mountain trekking agency, more like, and he becomes a member of that group, and he starts trekking mountains. He starts just climbing mountains, and when he does all those mountaineer things, he realizes, oh, it's not that fun as I did when I was just, alone. So he becomes a solo climber, as he was implied at the start, and throughout the series, he's a loner. Um, the main character of the show is the perfect analogy for a person sitting in their basement with no work to do, and also a person who's climbing mountains. It is the best parameter to compare those two. No physical prowess, no mental prowess, just that. That one particular thing that everybody is scared of, being lonely, being left out, being, not being in everybody's circle or something. It hits directly at that. Whether you are a rich businessman or a, well, a sports person. you can still be lonely, and it shows directly that. But there is also numerous meanings of loneliness and how being alone can slowly and slowly but surely rot away a person. And the series does a fantastic job to portray that. I mean, if you read further into the series and if you read the whole series, I would rather prefer you to do so, then you would really see how the author has tackled that topic, the topic of isolation more so. He later, on the basis of loneliness and being alone, he makes another topic of such, which is of being isolated. And this is a spoiler from the manga, but this is the perfect and almost outside the box. A little, no, I wouldn't call it outside the box. It will be a little bit off the direction. Uh, analogy that the author, oh sorry, comparison the author made, sorry, metaphor the author made. And it comes about later in the series. You know, after it costs about probably 100 chapters or so, this part comes out, and this is a spoiler warning, by the way. Uh, the main character is isolated in a small room. He goes out, buys his food, comes home, eats food, sleeps. Doesn't do anything, doesn't socialize, doesn't do his not near things, doesn't do any single thing whatsoever. Stays in that room, comes out of that room, goes back into the room again. That is his life. And to describe that life, most of the time, what other authors would do is compare the main character or the character into a being, an entity that is not them. A lot of the times, it's an animal, but most of the time, it's an animal close to them, close to their personality, also. However, in this series, the author decides to compare him to a beast. That's a beast, not a Tala one, but like a beast. And there are obviously some more references in the manga where the reasons for it are justified, but that will be leaving too much spoiler in it. But this is a perfect example, but where he, on comparing it to a beast, shows that the main character is in a beast of its own who is assimilating in society, not being noticed by any person whatsoever, going back to its own life, but still being a monster inside the heart. And that is absolutely, that is, if that's not a masterpiece, I do not know what is. And there is a very wholesome scene in the manga after that very depressing part, but that is for the people who read it. And overall, this manga is absolutely gorgeous, amazing. Visual art is top notch. I mean, some of the panels of this manga are just stunning, stunning work from Sakamoto Shinichi. Just absolutely wonderful, wonderful manga. Everybody should give it a try. It's not super underrated, but more so, it's not that popular. It is very critically acclaimed by most fans, and it should also be only be done by fans. And it is a must read. Must read before you die, bro. And yeah, it is a 17 volume series. It's a bit long, but it is absolutely worth it. And I hope you give The Climber a try. And please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.